Hey everybody, it's MVP Jenny Kronbach. Thank you guys so much for getting on the skills call tonight. I'm getting to talk about having a decided heart, and it's one of my favorite things. Mindset and just conviction is really important. And you guys, if you haven't read this book, The 7 Decisions by Andy Andrews, gosh, I read it a ways back, but it always stands out. And the story I wanted to start with is bookmarked. So I'm going to start with a little story just to kind of build that framework for what I'm talking about. Like, what is this decided heart? What does that even mean? And then ask you a couple of questions. I'm going to walk you through some things that I think would help build or create that place where you can have a decided heart, because everything you want in your life is really just a decision away. So this story is fantastic. I've read it several times. I should probably be wearing glasses. I'll just hold the book farther away. But it's on page 85 of this book. It's called The Cortez Initiative. And I'm going to read it because it's powerful. It says, in 1519, an extraordinary man set sail on the final leg of a voyage from the shores of Cuba to the Yucatan Peninsula. On 11 ships, 500 soldiers, 100 sailors, and 16 horses. The mission was clear: to take the world's richest treasure. It was a treasure of gold, silver, artifacts, and jewels. It had been held by the same army for 600 years. This treasure was not a secret. The world knew about this treasure because army after army tried to take it. Conqueror after conqueror had come to their forces to take this treasure, but nobody had been able to do it, not for 600 years. Arbonne does not take 600 years. Like, this is the good stuff. It says, Hernan Cortez was a conqueror. Today, this occupation would be politically incorrect, but back then, it was simply a job description. Doctors, bakers, conquerors. You get the idea. Most people fail at whatever they attempt because of an undecided heart. Success requires the emotional balance of a committed heart. When confronted with a challenge, the committed heart will search for a solution. The undecided heart searches for an escape or an excuse or a way out. Those were my words. That wasn't in the book. Okay, this says, Cortez was aware of the many conquerors who had attempted to claim the treasure and failed, but his approach was different. He gathered an army committed beyond the level of the common man. Rather than signing up every recruit that applied, Cortez interviewed first. He talked to them about the treasure, what their lives would be like when they took the treasure, and what their families and future generations' lives would be like when they took the treasure. He even fantasized about what it would be like the moment they put their hands on the treasure. He sold the people on the vision, they committed and set sail. Halfway through the voyage, Cortez had a problem. Many of the soldiers and sailors who were once so certain turned into whiners. Mr. Cortez, we're not sure we could be on the ship at this time, or this isn't what we expected it to be. When they arrived at the Yucatan Peninsula, Cortez gathered everybody on the beach. They grew quiet, waiting for Cortez to say, you go here, we'll go there. If the arrows start flying, meet us back at the coconut stump and we'll be out of here. Instead, he leaned in and said, burn the boats. Excuse me, they replied incredulously. Cortez repeated, burn the boats, torch the boats. If we go home, he added, we're going home in their boats. And their leaders' orders, after their leaders' orders, they burned their own boats. And an amazing thing happened. They fought really well. For the first time in 600 years, the treasure was taken. Why? Because their choice was to take the treasure or die. Okay, and I tell that story not because Arbonne is do or die, but it really can feel like it. And it's important to know what a decision can do to your business. So when he says burning the boats, he says, what boats in your mind continue to float the excuses and limiting beliefs that are keeping you from getting what you want? What boats in your life do you need to burn? So my question, just to start off with you guys, is, have you decided that Arbonne is your vehicle, is your way out, and that you've closed the door? Or do you have one foot out or one foot back or one eye in your rearview mirror thinking, well, if this doesn't work, then right? You guys, you have to shut the door. You have to close the door behind you, because if you do not, you will not succeed. It is really that simple. That when I started, and I mean, I'm a pediatric nurse practitioner by trade. I could have gone back to medicine and worked, but I was not willing to do that. I was pregnant with my third. I wanted to be home. And I remember driving home from one of my shows with Tara on the first month. And I looked at her, I was almost in tears. I said, I don't have another way, right? This is my only way out. And I remember just that feeling was, well, I will find a way in, out, around, over any obstacle that comes my way. And you will have obstacles. So you guys, do you take 100% responsibility for your business and for your life? When I was going from area to region, I read one book. I wasn't a reader yet. And I read Success Principles, and all I had to do was read the first chapter, really, which was take 100% responsibility. And that was life-changing. If I ever need a boost, that's the chapter. Just read that again and remind myself that I am in control of what I can control. So you guys, what is it costing you not to follow our system, right? And do the dailies. And what are you going to do today and consistently every day moving forward to move you to that place? What I loved is he recruited people. That's what we do in Arbonne. We qualify them. We don't just take anyone and everyone. We want to know that someone has a why and someone is tied to this, and we want to be that vision caster for them. And we also want to be that person that reminds them of their why. So if you're at that place where you're like, I don't know, I'm not sure, what am I doing? Those kinds of things, lean on your upline, because we'll remind you. I feel like we're the keeper of your whys. We're the keeper to say, well, I remember you saying, is that still important to you? Right? And let's figure out what that why is. So you guys, there is a difference between being involved and being committed. So are you all in? Okay, it's a decision that you have to make to be all in and committed to your business. When you commit, you make everyone better. There have been plenty of times for sure where I've heard a training or I've been at a retreat where it just didn't hit me, or I wasn't in the right mental place, whatever. And I feel like it should have moved me to take action, and it didn't. And then I'd get mad that I wasn't doing the things I wanted to be doing. But I'm going to give you some tips today to help you shift to that place where you're really congruent with what you want to be doing and your goals and yourself, and keeping those commitments to yourself. Other times it might have felt like something like when you're on a training, you're just checking those things off your list and you're tasking it. And things like that. But we really I want my hindsight to be your foresight so that you can take this business not only to area, but to region, to nation, to EMVP, and really make a big difference in this world. So you guys, like I said, I want to accelerate your learning. And so I want you to learn from my mistakes, and I've made plenty of them. And I want to remind you of the 90-day cycle. This doesn't require a whole lot of like talking about, but what you do today is what shows up 90 days from now in your business. And what you do tomorrow shows up 90 days from then, right? So you have to create some consistency too, because if you do something once, and then a week later do something once, there's nothing that's going to tie together. You're going to see that inconsistent progress too in the 90 days. So you want to have that consistency and really stick to something, try something for 90 days. And you have to give it that long, which is not that long if you think about it in the grand scheme of things. So having a decided heart has to do with how we make decisions and what we do once the decision is made. Honestly, it's a visible shift in people when they decide is the coolest thing. I love watching people make that shift. And it's a shift, and then they start working, and then 90 days later, typically they're seeing those, the fruits of their labor. And having a decided heart is a shift in commitment to yourself, to do what you set out to do, and to do what you said you would do, regardless of how you feel, regardless of what's happening, and really carving out that time in your life, in your days, to do that. So you're backing it with that sense of urgency and certainty and a no matter what attitude. I know someone's going to move and promote when they say, well, this canceled, but that's okay because I'm using that time for this, or I went and scheduled this anyway because I this fell off my calendar. I wanted to make sure something was there. It's this no matter what thing. It's not, well, let's just see what happens. It doesn't happen organically. It just doesn't. I'd love to say it does, but it doesn't. You guys, it's a shift from being involved in Arbonne to being all in. And you know, guys, the results are exponential growth in your business when you are all in and when you decide to commit to your business. This is one of my favorite quotes. I have it up everywhere. Had it up, especially when I was making promotions. I had several hanging here in my office. But it's until one is committed, there's hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there's one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. That the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never have otherwise occurred. A whole stream of events issue from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance, which no man could have dreamt would come their way. I have learned a deep respect for one of his couplets, which says, whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. I love that quote. So you guys, it isn't necessarily the how. It isn't like having to know how something's going to happen. It's the process. And you guys, and it's that belief that you live in a friendly universe, that things are, the world is conspiring for your good, and that things happen for a reason. They're not always good things, right? But it's something that will shift us to learn what we need to learn in that moment, to grow into the person we need to become, to get to that place that we need to be, to serve the people we need to be serving. So I'm going to give you some tips on how to get there. I know we're striving to go area, and my advice is to continue just to strive, right? And I'll kind of talk a little bit about that, like finish lines here. But number one is taking 100% responsibility for where you are in your business and your life, right? And remove the option to quit. Burn your boats. Okay. You have to read that. You have to read that every day, every morning, like to remind yourself that there's not another option. This is my way forward. It will help tremendously in your actions. Number two is to be crystal clear on your big vision, and put it into your, whatever it is, your vision boards, your passwords, your miracle morning, however you visualize. And visualizing can be really tricky, but it can be done during your prayer meditation too. Just picturing meeting the right people that day, and just having things flow and having the right people surrounding you and being able to serve the right people. Okay. But I want you, like he said, he pictured people, like the moment they touch that treasure, what is that going to feel like? Because it's a feeling. So what is it going to feel like when you qualify for area and then finish area? What is it going to feel like when you get in qualification for region and finish region, or nation and finish nation? For me, it was like, I proved it to myself. Like, I did that. Gosh, if I can do this, anybody can do this, right? It's that proof to yourself is really what it is. It's really pretty awesome. Set goals, you guys. That's number three. Set goals and set them with your VP and your upline. I still collaborate with Tara on my goals. I love having someone else's like eyes on my business to find those holes, those things that I'm not seeing. And you guys, and crush your goals, and be okay if you don't hit your goals. You guys, I had a naysayer in my house for the first, 11 years of my business. And that at one point said, why do you even post these goals? You never hit them. And because I'm posting like the big, hairy, audacious goals that are up there that I did eventually hit, but not in a month, not in a week, not in a year. Some of them were 3 and 5 years out. So they were big, crazy goals. And it's okay if you don't hit them the month you think you're going to hit them. It's okay if it doesn't happen, because everything happens on God's time, and it is always perfect timing. So where was I on this? Let's see. Okay, so you guys, you want to be consistent in your dailies. That's quite obvious. I'll talk a little bit about that. And be in massive activity and follow the system. The system works. You can reinvent things, but you'll get frustrated and you'll come back to the system. I see it happen again and again. Number 4 is lead with the business and use the funnel. And if you don't know what that is, talk to your upline, but you're asking for the hardest thing first. You're talking about the business, which is the biggest gift. If they say no, you're talking then to talking with them about hosting or coming to a Zoom get together, or then trying the products, or then referrals or recommendations. But you want to funnel people. I was that person that would get on the phone and I ask, and if they even grunted like, Like they didn't want to do it. I'd be like, oh, it's okay. It's all right. Bye. Like I wouldn't ask anything else. It was just not, it was not in my wheelhouse at first. So I remember practicing verbiage, writing down what I was going to say to everybody. And that's okay. You guys, these are skills that you're learning. It's okay. It's okay to be nervous. It's okay to have to write down every conversation before you have it until you feel confident in doing that. And it's also okay just to speak from the heart. I think that's the most effective way is when you're authentic and you're yourself. But if you're still learning, you're like, you still know that you need to have some guidance on that, it's okay to have it written down as well. Number 5, this might be one of the more important ones, commit to yourself that you will do the dailies no matter what, whether you feel like it or not. You guys, leadership isn't always convenient. It's never convenient, let's be honest, but it's worth it. This is a part-time business, but not a sometimes business. And a little Arbonne every day goes a long way. And this means asking for income producing activities during your reach outs every single day. Tara had put out a challenge, Laura had a great, 2, 2, and 2, whatever your system is for outreaches, do it. Just do it every single day. And if you're like me, I like having a checklist. I like writing everything down the night before. I will get things done if I write it down the night before. It's probably one of my most effective tips. If I don't, then I'm like floundering through my day and, I got to grab this, or, I'm not organized, and it just sets me in a little bit of a tailspin at times. So I need to write it down the night before. Number 6, you guys, is just as important as doing the dailies is the personal growth and development. You've heard it before that your business cannot outgrow you. You are the lid to your business. Yes, the success plan says that people can pass you. That's awesome. Great. That means you sponsored an ACE. Fantastic. But honestly, you are the lid for your team. They are waiting for you to blow the top off so they have permission and that freedom and that space to move forward too. So you are the lid. And the only way to grow, you guys, is to read. Listen to podcasts, listen to Learn and Burns, plug into trainings, plug into calls, re-listen to the calls. They say you should listen 7 times to really internalize it. So you guys, it needs to be in your ears constantly. Tara, I was pregnant, I'd go for runs, and Tara had given me this little iPod shuffle that had all the old Learn and Burns on them. And I would sit there and listen to them, and then Tara and I would start talking. She's like, where'd you hear that? I'm like, oh, this Jack Canfield Learn and Burn. And she's like, oh, she's listening to him. But it just started to change the way my brain even worked. So whether it's books, whether it's that, and then physically be reading 10 pages a day. That was the big shift for me going from Region and Nation, is I just committed to reading paper book 10 pages a day, in addition to the thousands of Audible books and all the other things that I was learning as well. You guys, I just wouldn't be where I am without the personal growth and development. I would be maybe a district manager. That's probably where I'd stay, because I wouldn't have done the work to move myself anywhere beyond where I was. And so you guys, a little tip for you around personal growth. You guys, if you are feeling frustrated with your team, you just need more personal activity. It's not your team. It's a job to run your business. Your job is to do your personal activity at all times. Okay. If you're frustrated with your upline, you need more personal growth. Okay. And I've been in both of those, and it's just so true. So I highly recommend doing a miracle morning. You guys, everybody's is going to look different. Mine, I don't have it with me right now. I get up and I read my goal sheet. I've written out all my goals for the year. I read those. I have some affirmations that I read. I have a mission, like the, what is it called? I'm blanking on it, but the vision for the hitting those big goals. What does your life look like? What does it feel like? Haley Duncan did the training on that one. I'm not remembering the word, but I wrote down, what's my biggest vision for my life? What it would feel like, who would be surrounding me, what I'm celebrating, what is my life like? So I read that every morning. I say some prayers and sit and meditate. And during meditation, I might have something going through my head. Winning image story. Thank you, Brenda. I might have something going through my head. I might just be sitting in silence. And I do my reading of the book later in the day, just because of how my day is structured. And then I do my Orange Theory, or Orange Theory starts first, and then I do my Miracle Morning after it. But you guys, you have to do it. You have to, and the journaling. I always write down either 3 things I'm grateful for and why, And then I'll write down whatever I'm needing to process. So some days I'm just like 3 things I'm grateful for and why. Some days it's like, I got to write this stuff down and then my brain is clear and life is good. So you guys, for sure, you have to have a miracle morning. And some people don't like to get up early. That's fine. But the first thing you do when you get up, you need to be focusing on being intentional. You need to have a miracle morning. I don't care what time you get up. I don't care if you work nights and you get up at 3 in the afternoon, you have a miracle morning routine. How you start your day will carry into everything you're doing. And again, it's a decision. It's like, do I feel like it? Maybe not. I mean, nobody feels like getting up. Nobody feels like making their calls. Nobody feels like working out. It's not about feeling. It's getting up and doing it and having that self-discipline to do the things make you your best you, right? And lift you up, because it will carry throughout your entire day. The miracle morning is a total game changer for your attitude, your motivation, gives you direction, and helps you start your day. One thing I've seen and personally done, it's super easy, is when you get stuck in something, it gives you that ability to have some clarity and some peace to move forward. You guys, life is also really busy. So if you're not being quiet ever in your day, you're going to just run out of juice. You have to have that space to have quiet. That's when you're going to get your clarity. That's when you're going to get those downloads. That's when you're going to get your God winks. That's when you have to have quiet time. You just absolutely do. I also want to be clear that there's no arriving in this business. This was a mistake I had made. There's only mile markers along the way. So I want you to set your sights on EEEEENVP. And I get this, that it can be totally overwhelming and it stretches how we see ourselves. But remember, you have to set a goal so big that you cannot achieve it until you grow into the person who can. It's a process, and you have to learn to love the journey, because it is all about the journey and becoming your best you. You guys, the titles, the car, the pay, the recognition, the trips, those are just affirmations that you're on the right track. That's it. That's all they are. So just put that out there, and then get busy. Have your goal, set it out there, and then you're just getting busy on the things you actually can control. And some of the mile markers are titles. So we're striving for that area manager. That's important. You're learning to be a leader of people, right? You have to learn to lead yourself, so then you can lead people and teach people to lead themselves and lead other people. You want to empower leaders, right? And not disempower and just have followers. You want to teach people to be leaders. I do know it can be overwhelming to look at the big end goal, like the ENVP part. But the best advice I have is that focus on what you can control. There's very little you can control. It's like your attitude and your effort are the 2 things you can control. And so if you're controlling your attitude, that means you're starting your day off with a miracle morning. You have been reading books because you have a positive mindset, and your effort is just your dailies. You guys, you do not have to spend 10 hours a day working your Arbonne business. If you spend your concentrated hour of doing outreaches, getting it done, you can be free to go on with your day, right? And move on with your day and do the things that you're going to do. That's a better way to live than fretting about what you're not doing for your Arbonne business all day long. You get better and better at all of these things the longer that you're in Arbonne and the more effort you put in. You guys, so just to review, you guys take that 100% responsibility, have crystal clear vision, set those goals, lead with the business, get that good funnel technique down, do your dailies daily, whether you feel like it or not. And rock out your personal growth and development. You already know what to do. You really do. So now is the time to do it. And so I'm going to ask you a few questions just to kind of get you thinking a little bit. How are we doing on time? Oh, perfect. So the first question is what is it costing you to not have a decided heart, to be involved in Arbonne, right, but not be all in? What do you think you could do in the next 90 days? 90 days, that's what I want you to focus on first. 6 months, year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. If you committed to doing the dailies and following our system completely. What would that do for your life and people that you haven't even met yet? Because here's the truth. People are counting on you to shine bright. Your family, your kids, your fur babies, your coworkers, your friends. and even people you don't know yet, they're counting on you to be big, play all out, and stop playing small. They need you to be their proof that they can do this too. And frankly, you need to be your proof, that you can follow through on what you said you were going to do long after that feeling you said it in has passed. Okay? Be responsible to you. There's nothing more damaging to your self-confidence than not holding a commitment to yourself, right? Because what do? We're like, I knew I couldn't do it. I just suck. Whatever, the negative self-talk just will take over, right? And you don't mean to be doing that, but it starts filtering. How awesome would you feel if you wrote your list the night before, you got up, did your miracle morning, whatever that looks like, knocked out your dailies, and then went on with your day? You'd have nothing to beat yourself up over, right? And you're not attaching yourself to the outcome. You're doing your work for an hour or two, and then you're done, right? And you're moving on with your day. So I'm going to end with a quote that was my roadblock going nation. And when I read it now, I remember feeling this way, but I'm like, wow, I've come a long way, because it doesn't hurt my heart when I read it now. It's like, oh yes, I've come a long way, which is really awesome. So you really need to work through whatever your limiting beliefs are, because we all have them. You guys, Jonathan Mansky always says you can't outperform your current self-image. Okay, you can't outperform your current self-image. So how you see yourself, you're not going to move past that. You have to upgrade your self-image, how you see yourself, because you will do more if you see yourself in a better light. If you have kids, you know what I'm talking about. If you expect the worst, you will get it from them. If you're like, oh, you can do this, absolutely, give it a try. I don't know, have you tried it yet? Like, you will see them rise and like blow your mind if they don't already blow your mind. But when we try to micromanage and make it be in control of all that, they can't shine, right? That's the same with our team. That's the same with us. We have to expect bigger, better things from ourselves. So you guys, when you're 100% committed and you have that decided heart, it is no longer just in your head. It's here. It's in your heart. And so I want this decision to not just be playing Arbonne, not be doing Arbonne. I don't even know what that means, doing Arbonne. I have a multi-million-dollar successful Arbonne business. Is that you are gonna, the more you speak it, the more likely you're gonna move to that as well. It comes from that shift in belief in you, and you can't get there. You just can't get there without personal growth. So I've read this, and I might read this every single time, you guys. But I read it because we need to hear it, and especially, I mean, men and women both. But and I'm just going to say, men and women both need to hear this. Every single person does. It's a Merriam-Webster quote, and you all know it. If you don't, this is going to be, you'll be really grateful that I shared it. You guys, it says, our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, successful? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. You playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. And it's not just in some of us, it is in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we liberate ourselves from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Wouldn't you like to have that impact on the people that you're around, right? Your family, your community, your team. So my hope is this, is that you shift from here to here and have a decided heart about your Arbonne business. And that now is the time that you have that shift that makes your business not just a hobby, but a commitment level that is deeper than you've ever experienced before. So decide that no matter what, and really show yourself what's possible, be the proof to yourself and your team, the doubters, the naysayers, and the people who are desperate to get out of their situations as well, that you are going to do this no matter what. You are going to show up as the person that you are. You guys, the person that asked you to be here on this team, the whatever caused you to say yes to this business, it's still there. That has not changed. You still need to be here doing and being like thriving in this Arbonne business. And thriving can be struggle when you're learning to get from here to here, right? So embrace it, embrace the struggle, embrace the chaos, embrace the process and the growth, because you're worth it. Your family's worth it. Your community's worth it. Your team is worth it. And I believe in you. And I know that if you can incorporate just that shift from here to here and do those dailies and follow that system and really pour into growing you, that you'll be unstoppable. It's just, I mean, I've seen it so many times. I've been in Arbonne 13 years. It's just what we see. So be your best you, show up for yourself. I'm really, really grateful I got to share. And I'm going to stop the recording.